What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So guys, channel membership is now live. Link is in the description and the first comment. Do check it out. That would really help support the channel. So did you guys know that Hamdi had so much athleticism? So he recently did a move that Kai Green used to do in all of his posing routines. And that must be the hardest thing to do for any bodybuilder, especially in the men's open class, considering the amount of weight these guys must be carrying on their frames. And Hamdi is doing that during his off-season. So quite surprising, if you guys ask me, because Hamdi's posing routines, they are pretty normal. And yes, I know he hit some of those classic shots, similar to the ones that Milos Sarcev used to hit, and also some other guys back in the day. But that's pretty much it. But this was actually very spectacular. Now, I'm not so sure how safe that would be, but Hamdi pretty much nailed that. So, Marcelo has been practicing those daily vacuums, which is a great move, because that is something that is going to help him control his midsection, his abs, on the stage, because the waist is something that Hamdi has to work on big time. He doesn't have the smallest waistline to begin with, so he has to be very conscious about keeping it very tight every single time he steps on stage. And now is the time Hamdi must be picking a show to have a go at his Olympia qualification for this year. And we have to keep in mind, if he does qualify, this is going to be his first ever Miss Olympia. Now Hamdi earned the respect of many people out there, and that happened last year by making some unbelievable improvements, especially in his back double biceps. That used to be his weakest shot. I mean, that still is, but the kind of improvements that we saw from him, and that too in just a matter of a few months, from the Arnold to the big man weekend last year, that was superb. Plus, the fact that he brought some crazy condition. The man was ripped to shreds. That was easily the best condition of his career. And that is why even a guy like Akeem Williams, who is a top 10 Olympian, he had to fight tooth and nails to win that show against Hamdi. He was dry, he was ripped, and he was able to beat quite a lot of great guys in that post-Olympia tour. Now Hamdi can 100% qualify for the Olympia if he goes for one of those last Olympia qualifiers, because chances are no top Olympian, they are gonna be there, because they simply aren't gonna risk entering a show just a couple of weeks before the Olympia. Now on a separate note, how did you guys rate that crazy athletic move that we just saw from Hamdi? Next up, we have an update from Urs the Miracle Bear. So no surprise that his training performance that has improved a lot in the gym after he dropped some weight, because it was so tough for a guy like Urs to be close to 270 pounds. And Urs himself said this to Chris Bumstead, that he cannot wait to start this prep to finally get rid of some of that extra weight at the very least. But the thing about Urs is that he stays super lean even during the off-season. Even when he went up to 270 pounds, he was in a super condition. He had that decent separation in his quads. The abs were clearly visible. And that is something that is very impressive, but not ideal for him. Because if we consider his weight cap and how much he has to lose to make the weight cut off, that must be super hard to lose all that hardened muscle. So this is going to be a very big year for Urs's classic physique career. He took the entire year off. As per him, he made the most improvements in his arms and his back, which are of course his only weaknesses, and we all know what kind of a condition Urs is able to achieve. And the fact that this time, he wants to take it up a notch. He wants to bring that Andre Munzer level conditioning. So the look that we saw from Urs last year at the Olympia, that was undoubtedly his all-time best. And if we again dive into this discussion, who is more classic, then Urs is right on top of that list. And if he can bring bigger arms, they are only gonna enhance his V-taper even more, and the man is gonna look even more aesthetic. So Terence Ruffin said this pretty straight, that he doesn't believe that either Urs or Ramon, they can beat Mike Sommerfeld, especially if Mike comes in at his all-time best. So Mike is the guy everyone out there, including Urs, they are chasing right now. So Urs did make some considerable improvements in his back from the Arnold last year to the Olympia last year. And that was in just a few months. And this time, he had a full year. So, I'm gonna say do not doubt him. Next up, we have a 9 weeks out physique update from Shire. So the man is finally coming into his own beautifully as he continues to chip away little by little. So his fun lat spread, that is gonna be one of the best shots at this upcoming Tampa Pro in that whole lineup. And Justin is gonna enter that show as a former Olympian and a guy who is coming back after a gap of almost 2 years. And there is nothing in his mind other than getting back to that Olympia stage. So there is more size, more density, and more thickness to be expected from Justin Shire at this upcoming Tampa Pro, since this is going to be his first show since the Olympia back in 2023, where he made his Olympia debut. So this is definitely one of the most pretty physiques, one of the most aesthetic physiques in the entire men's open at the moment. And Justin is working with a different coach this time, and this is happening for the very first time ever since he came onto the scene. And he was previously working with Matt Jensen. So the guy went right back to the drawing board after the Olympia back in 2023, and he took his time. But now, he's 100% logged in for this prep, and Justin's chances of winning this upcoming Tampa Pro, they are going to be dependent a lot on the extent of his improvements in his back shots. We already know his first few shots, they are going to be some of the best out there. They are going to be lights out. Now, he was the winner of Chicago Pro, and that was his pro debut back in 2023. But the competition at that show, that wasn't this high. Now, he did beat John De La Rosa at that show and Stanimal that year. But John, we all know, is someone who improved a lot since 2023. So I for one am very excited to see Justin back on the stage and see what kind of a package he brings this time around. The reigning Olympia champion Samson Dao checks in at 328 pounds just after completing 3 weeks of his official offseason. Now Samson has such a unique advantage over every other competitor out there in all of the Pro League. And I'm not talking about the size advantage. He doesn't have to take any pictures and videos and then send them to his coach, as we know his wife is the one coaching him and she's there with him all the time. And they have been doing this since the Arnold Ohio back in 2024. That was the last show that Samson did with Milos Sarcev, and from that point onwards, Marlena took over. Yes, Samson doesn't look as tight as Hadi Choopan or Nick Walker, but the thing is he doesn't have to. We are still 19 weeks out from this year's Miss Olympia, and it doesn't matter how you look right now, and Samson is going to use all this time to push the food as much as he possibly can, as much as he physically can, to make some real improvements before the Olympia prep begins. And he will definitely be focused to bring up his back, especially that back double biceps. Now, I'm not implying that his back is a weak body part anymore, because we saw it has came up tremendously, especially since 2022. But that being said, there are definitely better backs in that Olympia top 5 than Samson. But those quads on Samson Dao, they are just ridiculous. And this is something we have noticed even in the offseason, in every offseason. His legs always stay very lean and very separated, even at the peak of his offseason. Now Nick Walker was praised a lot on having one of the best, most muscular shot in the entire men's open bodybuilding right now. So how about this most muscular from Samson Dao? Yes, he kind of looks soft here. So here we have one from the Olympia last year, just to give you guys an idea what kind of a beast Samson Dao really is. So Nathan Diesha checking in, all the way from the O2 gyms in Kuwait. The guy who has the most number of pro wins right now. Someone who is actively competing. So less than 3 weeks out, and the man is looking very flat, but well on his way to present probably one of the best looks of his entire career. Now you have got to agree with that caption that Nathan put up. Nothing is ever guaranteed in bodybuilding, and although he hasn't beaten Behrouz Tabani so far, but this can change in 2025. And all it takes from Behrouz Tabani is to come in off just by a tiny bit. So I do not know how many of you guys were watching Italy Pro from last year live, when Nathan and Behrouz, they were top 2. Behrouz won that show, hands down. But for many fans, that show was pretty damn close, including myself. Because Nathan brought an unbelievably full and hard look, and at a certain point in that show, it kind of seemed like that Nathan might win that one. And Nathan isn't training that hard and dieting that much to come in second at this upcoming Dubai Pro. He's aiming for that first place and also that big paycheck of 140 grand. So last year, Nathan did a total of 3 shows and the man came out on top in just one of them. And he did beat William Bonac in that show. Now Nathan always likes to compete multiple times when he's in shape. So expect to see the same from him this year too. So we are now just 16 days out from the mighty Dubai Pro. So I believe this is gonna be a superb show. And for the record, this is gonna be Nathan's first show after a gap of 1 year. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.